Even in close-up, it's hard to see how she's making the box shift across the table, but it certainly is moving. Dr. Rishkov and his team built an airtight glass box for the experiments. This was to prevent any possibility of her using magnets or an electrostatic charge, or even blowing objects with her breath.
This is Nina Kulagina, a Soviet woman whose abilities terrified both scientists and intelligence agencies. At the height of the Cold War, she became a top-secret research subject, demonstrating something that shouldn't be possible, like moving objects without ever touching them. Not on a stage, not in a magic show, but inside controlled laboratories, under strict scientific scrutiny. Born in 1926, Kulagina never imagined she'd become a subject of intense study by the Soviet military. A World War II tank radio operator, she later discovered something strange. Objects around her would shift, seemingly in response to her emotions. Was it a coincidence? Or was there something more? The Soviet government wanted answers. Under observation, she moved matchsticks, turned compass needles, and even influenced biological processes just by focusing her mind. But then, in 1968, Soviet scientists released shocking footage. A grainy, black-and-white film showing a matchstick sliding across a table, moved by nothing but her thoughts. What happened next was inevitable. Some called it a fraud. Others, especially military officials and physicists, believed she had tapped into an unseen force. And if that were true, the implications were terrifying. But Kulagina wasn't alone. Throughout history, certain individuals have demonstrated abilities that defy physics, levitating objects through nothing but intent, bending metal without physical force, altering heart rates and biological functions using just their focus. And while mainstream science dismisses such cases, classified research projects, military experiments, and independent studies tell a different story. Because when you strip away the skepticism and look at the data, a disturbing possibility comes up. That psychotelekinesis might be real. It's the only missing link between energy and consciousness. See, as most of you know, everything in this universe is energy: your body, your thoughts, your emotions. And quantum physics has already shown that particles change behavior when they are observed. And that reality, at its core, is not solid, but exists as a field of vibrating probabilities. Ancient mystics and modern researchers both point to the same conclusion: that the mind is not just an observer of reality, but an active participant. And if that's true, then what else are we capable of? In the next few minutes, we'll explore the shocking scientific experiments that suggest the mind can influence reality, the hidden history of telekinesis research, from Princeton to top-secret military projects, how quantum physics is rewriting our understanding of consciousness and energy, and most importantly, how you can train your mind to harness energy, just like Nina Kulagina and others before her. Because once you understand the true power of focused intention, nothing in your reality will ever look the same again. Let's begin. But Nina Kulagina wasn't the only one to defy reality. Decades earlier, another individual shocked the world with an ability that seemed equally impossible: seeing without using his eyes. This is Kuda Bux, a man whose gift made even the most hardened skeptics question their understanding of human potential. The blindfolded visionary. In the 1930s and 1940s, Kuda Bux captivated audiences around the world with an ability that science simply could not explain. He could read books, recognize objects, and even describe his surroundings, while his eyes were completely covered. He performed live demonstrations, where medical experts would tightly wrap his head in layers of thick bandages, yet he would still navigate and read with absolute precision. Then, in 1945, he pulled off his most audacious stunt yet, riding a bicycle through the chaotic streets of New York City, blindfolded. Through Broadway and Times Square, weaving through traffic, he pedaled forward, without ever using his physical sight. The world watched in disbelief. How was this possible? A secret hidden in ancient knowledge. Bucks claimed his abilities were not magic, nor illusion, but the result of a discipline passed down through the ancient traditions of yoga. He spoke of deep concentration, of an intense mental practice that allowed him to bypass ordinary perception and tap into something beyond. His story even inspired a Netflix film, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, based on a short story by Roald Dahl. In the film, Bucks is represented by the character Imdad Khan, a man who learns to see without sight under the guidance of a yogi. And the method? A technique as old as time, focused, unwavering attention. The mind is a fragmented storm, but it can be tamed. Right now, your mind is scattered. Thousands of thoughts swirl in and out. What you see, hear, smell, the background worries, the distractions, the endless pull of your attention in 100 directions at once. A mind like this is chaotic, unfocused, powerless. But ancient teachings and modern neuroscience suggest that when you train your mind to lock onto a single point of focus, something remarkable happens. Imdad Khan's teacher put it simply: if you can hold your conscious mind on a single object for 3.5 minutes, you will have mastered the first step. Sounds easy? Try it. Most people won't last 30 seconds before their thoughts pull them away. Yet according to yogic teachings, a person who trains this ability over decades will unlock abilities that most believe to be impossible, and Kuda Bucks was living proof. He dedicated years to mastering deep concentration, beginning with a simple but powerful exercise. Each day he sat before a candle, staring into the deepest, darkest part of the flame, training his mind to eliminate every distraction, every wandering thought. Then, something happened. Something that changed everything. His vision began to shift. Even with his eyes closed, he could still see. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, but literally. What does this tell us? It tells us that our perception of reality is incomplete, that the limits of what we think is possible may not be limits at all. And if the human mind can override something as fundamental as sight, what else can it do? If everything we know about reality is wrong, would you even want to know? This isn't just a question, it's a warning. Because the deeper you go into the nature of consciousness, the more you realize reality is not solid, it's not fixed, it's not separate from you. This is why we need to talk about Carlos Castaneda. If Nina Kulagina shocked the world by proving that the mind could move objects, and Kuda Bucks demonstrated that perception could override the limitations of the body, then Castaneda took things a step further. He didn't just experience these phenomena. He documented them. He lived them. And in doing so, he uncovered a hidden system of knowledge, one that explains exactly why energy can be manipulated and how reality bends to awareness. But who was Carlos Castaneda? Originally an anthropologist, Castaneda went beyond academic research. He immersed himself in the teachings of Don Juan Matus, a Yaqui shaman who revealed the true nature of reality. Castaneda's experiences weren't just about shamanic rituals or mystical insights. They were about breaking the illusion of reality itself. Since everything is energy, nothing is solid. The physical world is nothing more than vibrations of energy, constantly shifting and changing based on how we perceive it. And as an example, shamans claimed they could see energy as it truly was, glowing filaments of light forming everything. Some could even manipulate this energy to heal, move objects, or create miracles that defied physics. This aligns with what quantum physics has discovered, that matter is just a collection of energy waves collapsing into form when observed. The assemblage point controls perception. The assemblage point is the fixed position of awareness that locks us into a specific version of reality. Most people's assemblage point remains stuck in one position. meaning they can only see one narrow version of existence. Shift it. Reality changes. As an example, Don Juan trained Castaneda to move his assemblage point through deep focus, energy work, and specific bodily movements. When this happened, the world itself changed. Colors became more vivid, objects took on new forms, and time itself seemed to bend. See, this concept eerily mirrors lucid dreaming, where shifting awareness inside a dream allows the dreamer to manipulate the environment at will. The difference? Shamans claim to do this while fully awake, and intent is the hidden force behind existence. Everything we see, everything we experience, is held together by intent. Intent isn't just willpower, it's the raw energy field that shapes reality. Those who learn to align with it can bend the rules of existence. Here is an example. Shamans could intend things into happening. Weather changes, attracting events, even vanishing from sight by aligning their energy with the environment. In modern terms, this echoes the law of attraction and manifestation. Except Castaneda and Don Juan weren't talking about vague, positive thinking. They were describing a force as real as gravity, one that could be directly commanded. So mastering perception means mastering reality. Shamans were not just spiritual guides. They were technicians of perception. By altering their awareness, they could move objects without touching them, not by force, but by shifting the energy patterns that held those objects in place. Change their body's energy field. Don Juan described how sorcerers could remain invisible to people simply by shifting out of alignment with normal perception. Travel vast distances instantly, not by moving their physical body, but by projecting their consciousness, similar to what we now call remote viewing or astral projection. Exist in multiple realities at once. Many shamans spoke of stepping into alternate dimensions, places as real as our own but vibrating at a different frequency. This mirrors modern quantum theories that suggest multiple versions of reality exist simultaneously, and perception determines which one we experience. But not everyone wanted this knowledge to spread. As Castaneda's books became worldwide bestsellers, efforts began to discredit him. Critics dismissed his writings as fiction, despite the growing scientific evidence that reality is influenced by perception. Academia turned its back on him, even as quantum physics started proving concepts eerily similar to what Don Juan had taught. And then, in 1998, Carlos Castaneda vanished. Officially, he died of liver cancer. But there was no funeral, no confirmed burial site, no public record of his body. Even stranger, several of his closest followers disappeared at the same time. Some were later found dead in remote locations. Others, never seen again. It was as if Castaneda had mastered the very thing he wrote about, removing himself from conventional reality entirely. Was he erased? Did he choose to leave? Or did he unlock something that allowed him to transcend the physical world itself? Everything is energy, and that changes everything. Here's why this matters. If Castaneda was right, if reality is pure energy responding to attention and intent, then every case of telekinesis, enhanced perception, or altered reality we've explored isn't supernatural at all. Quantum physics confirms that observation collapses probabilities into reality. Remote viewing experiments prove consciousness is not bound by space or time. Intent-focused studies show that human thought influences physical systems. Reality is not something we passively experience. It is something we actively create. And that means, if we understand energy, perception, and focus, then the laws of reality are not fixed. For centuries, mystics and shamans have claimed that focused thought can shape reality. Now science is catching up, proving that the human mind may be more powerful than we ever imagined. This isn't philosophy, it's hard data. Decades of experiments, from secret government projects to academic research labs, have tested the unthinkable. Can focused intention influence the physical world? The answer? Yes. And the implications are staggering. At Princeton's Engineering Anomalies Research (PEER) lab, Scientists ran a series of groundbreaking experiments using random event generators, REGs, machines designed to produce purely random, unpredictable data, similar to computerized coin flips. Participants were instructed to mentally push the machine toward more heads or more tails, without touching it. The results? Over millions of trials, tiny but statistically undeniable shifts occurred. Participants influenced the machine's randomness with nothing but their intention. Even more shocking, distance didn't matter. Some participants weren't even in the same building, yet their minds still affected the outcome. This wasn't a one-time anomaly. The results were repeated again and again, with odds of occurring by chance so astronomically low that they defied conventional physics. If human thought can nudge random data, what happens when you apply the same principle to your own reality? The power of micro-intentions. Just like the Princeton studies, small, focused intentions create measurable changes. Try this experiment. The micro-intention challenge. Each morning, set a specific small intention. Something realistic, but beyond your direct control. Examples. Today I will experience an unexpected moment of luck. A stranger will compliment me today. I will see a symbol that confirms I'm on the right path. Then, go about your day as usual, but stay aware. At the end of the day, write down anything that happened related to your intention. Patterns will emerge. At first, the effects may seem subtle, but over time, the more you practice, the stronger the shifts become. And if a single mind can produce measurable changes in reality, what happens when many minds synchronize their focus? What if your thoughts didn't just affect what's in front of you, but could reach across space, influencing people, machines, and events miles away? Sounds impossible. Science says otherwise. At Princeton's PEAR lab, researchers conducted remote intention experiments, testing whether participants could influence machines from thousands of miles away. Once again, the results defied expectation. Distance didn't matter. The numbers still shifted far beyond what probability allowed. The effect became stronger when multiple people focused together. Then came the megareg experiment, where large groups meditated on a shared intention, and the statistical impact was even more pronounced. This means two critical things. Your mind isn't bound by physical space. Thought itself is an energy that can extend beyond the body. Collective focus amplifies power. When minds unite toward a single goal, the effect is exponentially greater. This isn't just theory, it's scientifically measured reality. And if a single intention can ripple across space, what else is possible? If your thoughts can reach across space and influence the world around you, the next question is, how do you use this in your daily life? This isn't just a theory, it's a trainable skill. Here's how to test it for yourself. The remote intention experiment. Choose a target. It could be a person, an opportunity, or an event you want to influence positively. Schedule a 5-minute session, set aside time to focus, ideally with a small group for amplified effect. Use a remote focus technique. Close your eyes, visualize the outcome as already happening, and feel gratitude for it. Track the results. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, look for unexpected shifts that align with your intention. Want even stronger results? Studies suggest that when groups synchronize their mental energy, even over video calls or remote sessions, the effects become more pronounced. This isn't just spiritual belief, it's scientifically backed. And if thoughts can influence reality from a distance, what happens when we zoom into the very building blocks of existence? Mind over quantum matter, the observer effect. Reality isn't as solid as it appears. Scientists have known for decades that at the quantum level, particles don't behave like fixed objects. Instead, they exist in a state of probability until they are observed. This is where things get strange. The double slit experiment, a glitch in reality. One of the most famous experiments in physics revealed something bizarre. When no one is observing, particles behave like waves, existing in multiple possibilities at once. But when a conscious observer measures them, they choose a definite path, as if they somehow know they're being watched. This isn't science fiction. It's been repeated thousands of times. It's called the observer effect, and it suggests that consciousness is woven into the very structure of reality itself, which raises an unsettling question. If reality responds to observation, can focused attention actually influence the material world? Testing it for yourself, the candle flame meditation. Try this ancient technique to train your mind to direct energy with intention. Find a quiet space. Sit comfortably with a candle about 40 centimeters away at eye level. Observe the flame. Focus your gaze on its three distinct layers. First, the bright yellow outer glow. Then, the deep blue core at the base. Lastly, the darker center. Hold your attention. Keep your mind fixed only on the flame. If distractions arise, gently bring your focus back. Close your eyes. After a few minutes, visualize the flame as clearly as possible in your mind. Expand your focus. Once you can sustain the image, apply the same concentration to a real-world goal, a situation you want to shape in your favor. But what's happening here? By training your focus, you're teaching your mind to collapse probabilities into reality, just like the quantum observer effect suggests. The stronger your focus, the stronger your ability to influence outcomes. And when this practice is applied in groups, the effects multiply. The science of group intention. Experiments on collective focus reveal something profound. When individuals focus on an outcome separately, the effects are small but measurable. When people focus together, the effects intensify and become more consistent. The most compelling evidence comes from the Global Consciousness Project, GCP. For years, scientists have monitored random number generators, RNGs, placed around the world. These devices produce pure randomness until something major happens. During global events that trigger mass human attention, such as 9/11 or synchronized world meditations, the RNGs become less random, as if human consciousness itself is influencing them. And it's not just about world events. Studies suggest that certain factors amplify a person's ability to influence reality. Personal energy levels. Those who meditate or practice energy work tend to produce stronger effects. Group size and coherence. A small focused group is often more effective than a large scattered one. Emotional charge, intentions infused with strong emotions, love, conviction, gratitude, are far more potent. Test it yourself, the collective intention experiment. Want to experience this in real time? Try this. Find a partner or small group. Gather 1 to 4 people willing to participate. Set a shared intention. Example: we will receive an unexpected gift within 48 hours. Focus together. Sit quietly and hold this shared thought for 5 minutes. Feel it as if it has already happened. Let go. Go about your day without over-analyzing the outcome. Compare results. Over the next 2 days, track any synchronicities or unusual gifts. If you succeed, try scaling up to a more complex intention. Why does this work? Spiritual traditions describe the power of collective prayer and energy work. Quantum physics hints that reality itself is interconnected. Psychology shows that shared belief reinforces conviction, making outcomes more likely. This opens up a far more unsettling question. If intention can influence reality across space, could it also reach beyond time? Remote perception and precognition. Seeing beyond time and space. What if focused thought doesn't just shape reality, but allows us to perceive events before they happen? It sounds impossible. But for decades, scientists, intelligence agencies, and classified projects have explored this very question. And the results? Shocking. The science of remote viewing. In the 1970s, the US government secretly funded Project Stargate, an intelligence program designed to test whether humans could remotely see distant locations or hidden targets. The findings: remote viewers, some with no prior training, accurately described locations, objects, and events they had never physically seen. The accuracy was detailed enough to assist in military operations and intelligence gathering. Even skeptics were forced to admit that something unexplainable was happening. But the most mind-bending discovery was this: remote viewing didn't just work across distance, it worked across time. Some viewers described past or future events with eerie precision, suggesting that our minds may not be confined to a linear timeline. The future leaks into the present. Other studies have tested whether humans can sense future events before they happen. In one experiment, participants viewed randomly selected images, some neutral, some emotionally charged, while scientists measured their physiological responses, heart rate, skin conductance. The body reacted seconds before seeing the emotional images, as if it somehow anticipated the future. The effect was small, but statistically undeniable. This suggests that some part of our consciousness operates outside of time, picking up glimpses of future events before they unfold. Test your own remote perception. Want to see if your mind can perceive beyond the physical senses? Try this simple remote viewing experiment. Prepare a target. Have a friend place a random photo, object, or word inside an envelope. Enter a relaxed state. Close your eyes, take slow, deep breaths, and clear your mind. Ask yourself, what is inside the envelope? Don't force an answer. Instead, let impressions, colors, shapes, or sensations emerge naturally. Write down everything that comes to mind, even if it seems random or meaningless. Open the envelope and compare. Look for patterns between your impressions and the target. The key is not to guess, but to receive impressions without judgment. The more you practice, the sharper your intuition becomes. And this raises an even bigger question. If the mind can perceive beyond time and space, could it also shape reality through creative expression? Everything around you, a quantum illusion. Everything around you, your body, the air, the screen you're looking at, feels solid. But at the smallest level of existence, reality isn't solid at all. At its core, the universe exists in a state of pure potential, a field of infinite probabilities, until something unexpected happens. It is observed. The double-slit experiment, proof that consciousness affects reality. Scientists made a shocking discovery when they fired tiny particles, like electrons, through two slits in a barrier. When no one was watching, the particles behaved like waves, spreading out in multiple patterns, as if they existed everywhere at once. But the moment scientists measured them, when they actively observed the experiment, the particles stopped acting like waves and instead chose a definite path. This means something profound. The simple act of observation collapses an infinite field of possibilities into a single reality. Consciousness is what makes reality real. In other words, your mind influences the behavior of physical matter at the quantum level. Which leads to an even bigger question. If thought alone can affect particles, what else can it do? Quantum entanglement. Everything is connected. Another bizarre quantum phenomenon is entanglement, where two particles, no matter how far apart, remain instantly linked. If you change the state of one, the other changes at the exact same moment, even across galaxies. Distance doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. The connection is instantaneous. This defies classical physics, yet it proves something mystics have said for thousands of years. Everything is interconnected. Separation is an illusion. The mind, just like particles, may be capable of influencing things beyond space and time. If a particle in one location can affect another instantly, is it really so impossible to believe that thoughts, energy, and intention can do the same? Ancient teachings align with quantum science. Long before quantum physics, ancient texts described mystical abilities that sound eerily similar to what modern science is now uncovering. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, yogis spoke of siddhis, extraordinary abilities that could be unlocked through deep concentration. Heightened perception, sensing beyond the normal limits of awareness. Clairvoyance and telepathy, accessing knowledge beyond direct experience. Influence over physical elements, the ability to shift energy and matter. Mastery of space and time, the ability to alter movement, perception, or even time itself. The difference. Mystics train their minds to access these abilities. Now, science is proving that focused awareness is the key to shaping reality, exactly as these ancient traditions have always claimed. The key to unlocking your mind's power. Most people live in a state of constant distraction, their minds scattered across endless thoughts, notifications, and external noise. But both ancient wisdom and modern physics agree. A focused mind reshapes reality. Where attention goes, energy flows. Master your focus, and you master reality. How to train your mind to direct energy. Here's how you can start. Single-point focus training. Meditate on a candle flame or a symbol. Train your mind to hold a single thought for extended periods. Energy sensitivity. Rub your hands together and slowly pull them apart. Can you feel the energy field between them? This is the first step to controlling it. The mind over matter experiments. Try influencing lightweight objects, like a feather or paper, with focused intention. The key is deep concentration. Breath and energy control. Ancient practices like pranayama, breathwork, and qigong amplify the body's electromagnetic field, making it easier to direct energy outward. Why has this knowledge been hidden? If humans truly hold the power to influence reality, why isn't this common knowledge? Because a mind that can control energy, focus, and influence matter is a mind that cannot be controlled. Throughout history, Nina Kulagina's telekinetic abilities were studied and suppressed. Governments classified research into remote viewing, intention experiments, and psychic phenomena. Religious and political institutions have long discouraged people from exploring their own power, because those who understand this knowledge become powerful beyond measure. The real question is, are you ready to reclaim your true potential? Are you willing to train your mind to reshape reality itself? Because once you understand that everything is energy, and your mind is the key to controlling it, your entire reality will change. Your mind is a self-editing machine. Right now, your brain is processing millions of signals every second. The temperature of the air, the feeling of your clothes against your skin, the faint hum of distant sounds, all happening, all unnoticed. Why? Because your brain filters out what it doesn't consider important. This filtering helps you focus, but it's also keeping you stuck. Rewiring your brain to unlock your power. Think about the last time you learned something new, maybe a sport, a language, or a skill. At first it felt awkward, unnatural. Your movements were stiff, your thoughts scattered, but over time it got easier, more fluid. What changed? Your brain rewired itself, creating new neural pathways that turned effort into instinct. And this is exactly how energy control works. Most people think they lack energy, but the truth is, they're just misusing the energy they already have. It's like driving with the parking brake on. You have power, but you're not directing it properly. The key isn't adding more energy, it's removing the resistance. Breaking free from mental barriers. Your mind is constantly creating invisible rules, limits on what's possible, often without you realizing it. A cat doesn't overthink how to land on its feet. A baby doesn't need instructions to learn how to walk. These actions happen naturally, guided by intuition and experience. But as we grow older, we start overthinking everything. We try to force results instead of letting them happen. We get stuck in rigid thought patterns that may help us in some ways, but also block us from our true potential. Energy control is about recognizing and breaking these patterns. Instead of fighting against the current, you learn to ride it. Instead of resisting reality, you learn to shape it. A simple exercise to reset your focus. Try this right now. Close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Notice the details, the temperature of the air, the depth of each inhale, the slight pause before you exhale. Just observe. Don't try to change anything. After a few moments, your breathing will naturally shift on its own. What just happened? Your brain released control patterns you didn't even know were there. The same principle applies to everything in life. Your thoughts, your energy, your ability to perceive and shape reality. The brain's reality filter, seeing beyond the illusions. Your brain doesn't show you reality as it is. It shows you reality as it believes it should be. Right now, your mind is filtering out an overwhelming amount of information. Let's test it. Close your eyes for 5 seconds. Now, what do you hear? Suddenly, you might notice sounds you weren't aware of before. Background noises, faint hums, distant voices. Your brain was always processing them, but it never brought them to your attention until you focused on them. This is called selective attention, the same mechanism that allows you to tune in to what matters and ignore what doesn't. And this is the key to unlocking higher levels of awareness and control. The invisible rules that shape your world. Your beliefs and past experiences color everything you notice. If you believe snakes are dangerous, you'll spot snake-like shapes faster. If you expect a situation to go badly, you'll unconsciously find proof that it is. If you believe something is impossible, your brain won't even try to see a way forward. Your mind doesn't just perceive reality, it shapes it. This is why a banana still looks yellow under blue light. Your brain expects it to be yellow and adjusts your perception accordingly. And it happens all the time, without you knowing it. Training your brain to see more. Athletes, musicians, and experts across fields train their minds to notice what others miss. Athletes spot tiny movements that signal an opponent's next move. Musicians hear microtones and shifts in timbre that most people overlook. Poker players read micro-expressions and subtle breathing changes that reveal when someone's bluffing. Chefs refine their taste buds to detect even the slightest imbalance in a dish. Detectives pick up on inconsistencies in tone, body language, and speech. Stock traders train themselves to spot patterns and anomalies in market trends. Your brain gets better at whatever you train it to notice, and what you focus on, you empower. The next step, taking control of your attention. Before we move forward, take a moment to notice your surroundings, the colors, the textures, the tiny details you usually overlook. Your attention is constantly jumping from one thing to another. But what happens when you learn to direct it deliberately? The key to energy control isn't forcing change. It's removing the blocks that keep you from seeing what's already there. Just like you can't run a marathon without training, you can't instantly master control over your mental processes. But with the right approach, you can make steady progress that rewires your brain and reshapes your reality. What's next? Unlocking deeper awareness and control. In the coming sections, we'll break down how to override the brain's illusions, how to expand your perception and energy control, how to use your attention as a tool to shape reality, not by forcing anything, but by removing the limits that were never real to begin with. The techniques are simple. The results, life-changing. The process of rewiring your brain. Think back to when you first learned how to drive a car. At the beginning, every movement needed conscious effort. Checking mirrors, adjusting speed, remembering where the pedals were. But over time, these actions became automatic. Your brain rewired itself, creating shortcuts to make driving feel effortless. This same process applies to energy work. At first, you might struggle to feel subtle energy shifts. It may seem vague, unclear, even non-existent. But with practice, the sensations become stronger and more distinct. Your brain isn't creating new abilities. It's simply learning to recognize what was already there. How to train your brain to feel energy. Let's try something right now. Focus on your hands, don't move them. Just pay attention. After a few seconds, you might start to notice tingling, warmth, or pulsing. The more you focus, the stronger these sensations will become. What's happening here? Those sensations were always there, but your brain was filtering them out. By shifting your attention, you're teaching your mind to tune in to energy patterns it normally ignores. It's like adjusting the contrast on a blurry photo. The details were always present, but now you can see them clearly. The matrix of perception, reprogramming how you see reality. Your brain doesn't show you reality. It constructs it based on what it thinks matters. Think about learning a new language. At first, everything sounds like meaningless noise, but over time, your brain starts picking out words, then sentences, then meaning. The sounds didn't change. Your ability to interpret them did. The same thing happens with energy work. The energy around you doesn't change. Your brain simply learns how to recognize it. And just like learning a language, the more you practice, the clearer it gets. Practical exercises to strengthen your energy perception. Here are 3 simple techniques to train your mind to sense and work with energy. 1. The energy ball exercise. Rub your hands together briskly for a few seconds. Slowly pull them apart and bring them close again, like you're squeezing an invisible ball. See if you can feel a slight resistance, warmth, or tingling between your palms. Experiment with shaping the energy, moving it in different directions. Why this works. This exercise activates your energy awareness and helps you feel the energy field between your hands. 2. The breath awareness technique. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. Without changing anything, simply observe how each breath feels. Notice how your breath starts to shift naturally after a few minutes. Why this works? This teaches your brain to recognize subtle shifts in energy without force. 3. Noticing energy in the environment. Go outside and stand next to a tree or large plant. Hold your hands a few inches away from the leaves. Close your eyes and see if you can feel any warmth, tingling, or density in the air. Try this with different plants or objects to compare sensations. Why this works? Nature is full of subtle energy fields. This exercise helps train your perception to recognize them. Your brain learns what you train it to notice. Athletes, musicians, and experts across fields train their perception to detect tiny details that most people miss. Athletes notice micro-movements that predict their opponent's next move. Musicians hear tiny pitch variations that shape a melody. Poker players read subtle changes in breathing and micro-expressions to detect a bluff. Your brain gets better at what you focus on. The more you train your ability to sense energy, the clearer it becomes. And this isn't just about feeling energy, it's about expanding your perception of reality itself. Quantum physics. The science that proves reality isn't what it seems. You've just learned how to retrain your brain to sense energy. But what if I told you that science is discovering something even more unbelievable? At the smallest level of existence, reality doesn't behave like we expect it to. The quantum world breaks the rules of reality. Think about a coin spinning on a table. In the normal world, when it lands, it's either heads or tails. But in the quantum world, it's both, at the same time. This is called superposition, where particles exist in multiple states until they are observed. Before observation, reality is pure probability. The moment we measure it, a single outcome is chosen. What does this mean? It suggests that reality isn't fixed. It is shaped by observation and attention. Sound familiar? It mirrors what ancient mystics and energy practitioners have claimed for centuries. Reality is fluid. What you focus on, you empower. Your awareness shapes what becomes real. Quantum entanglement. Everything is connected. Another mind-bending discovery is quantum entanglement. Two particles can become linked, so that affecting one instantly changes the other, even across galaxies. Distance doesn't matter, time doesn't matter. The change happens faster than the speed of light. Even Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, because it defies the traditional rules of physics. If two particles can be connected across space, could the same principle apply to human energy, thoughts, and intentions? Science is starting to say yes. Your thoughts are energy. Your attention shapes reality. Everything is interconnected. Practical techniques to use quantum principles in your life. How can you apply these discoveries to enhance your perception and energy control? 1. The quantum focus exercise. Choose a small goal, something you want to notice, like a specific number or symbol. For 1 minute, visualize it clearly in your mind, as if it's already there. Go about your day normally, but stay aware. When you start noticing it more often than usual, you'll know your mind is affecting perception. Why this works? You're training your awareness to recognize patterns you previously ignored, just like in quantum superposition. 2. The observer effect practice. Sit in a quiet room and observe a single object, a candle, a rock, or anything simple. Try to focus on it without labeling or judging it, just pure awareness. Notice how your perception of the object changes as you continue to observe. Why this works? By enhancing conscious attention, you strengthen your ability to influence perception and reality. These ancient yogis described reality as fluid and shaped by consciousness. That's why quantum physics is proving that observation determines reality, and neuroscience confirms that perception can be rewired and expanded. You're not just learning energy techniques, you're learning how to reshape your experience of reality itself. Energy work is not just about sensing forces around you, it's about recognizing how your attention shapes what you experience. If you seek calm, your observation helps create that stillness. If you focus on strength, your awareness brings that power forward. This is the observer effect in action, the principle that what we watch, measure, or focus on changes because we are observing it. But this goes beyond just noticing energy. The observer effect teaches us something deeper: responsibility. Since your attention influences what you observe, your intentions must be clear. What you focus on grows stronger. This doesn't mean you're making things up. Instead, it reveals that you are participating in reality rather than just witnessing it. When you work with energy, you're both the observer and the observed, like being the photographer and part of the photograph at the same time. How expectations shape energy perception. Here's something to test for yourself. 1. Hold your hands out in front of you. Close your eyes and expect to feel warmth. Wait for a moment. Do you notice a temperature shift? Now expect to feel tingling or movement. You'll likely notice different sensations depending on what you expect. This doesn't mean you're imagining things. It means your awareness is tuning into specific frequencies. Expect warmth. You focus on heat. Expect movement. You pick up on shifting patterns. Expect stillness. You experience balance. Your expectations act as filters, determining what parts of the energy spectrum you tune into. This isn't a limitation, it's a tool. By consciously adjusting your mental filters, you can expand your perception and control over energy. Overcoming the illusion of objective observation. Science tells us there's no such thing as purely objective observation. Everything we notice, measure, or experience includes our own influence. This creates both a challenge and an opportunity. The challenge: how do you trust your experiences if you're partly shaping them? The opportunity: instead of fighting this, learn to use it to your advantage. Energy work isn't about chasing some pure perception of reality. It's about achieving real results. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. At first, you overthink everything: your balance, your movements, your technique. But once you start riding, what matters isn't whether you're doing it perfectly, but whether you're staying upright and moving forward. The same goes for energy work. Focus on the outcome, not the mechanics. If your practice helps you grow, heal, and strengthen your awareness, it's working. By acknowledging your role as an active participant rather than just an observer, you gain control over your practice. Instead of resisting your natural influence, you use it wisely. Attention as a tool for energy work. Every moment your attention is shaping reality. Like any tool, it works best when you understand how it affects what you're working with. Your focus creates change. Learning to direct that focus deliberately gives you more control over energy. And this leads us to the next step: breaking through old patterns and creating new possibilities. The illusion of separation between observer and observed is about to shatter, revealing a new way of working with energy. The truth about energy: it's not what you think. Most of us grew up thinking about energy incorrectly, as something that simply moves from place to place, like electricity flowing through wires, heat rising from a stove, light traveling from the sun. But these are just surface-level descriptions. The real nature of energy is far more profound. Energy doesn't move. It's already everywhere. Let's take a light switch as an example. You flip the switch and the bulb lights up. The common explanation? Electricity travels from the power plant, through the grid, into your home, and powers the light. This feels logical because it matches what we see. But it's an illusion, a story we tell ourselves to make sense of reality. The reality: energy is a field, not a flow. Energy doesn't travel from the power plant to your home. It was already there. What actually happens is this: the power plant disturbs the energy field that already exists. That disturbance ripples through the grid until it reaches your light bulb. Your light doesn't receive energy. It simply responds to the shift in the field. This distinction is critical. Once you stop thinking of energy as something that moves from place to place, you begin to see the true nature of reality. Everything is energy in different states. Everything around you, matter, light, sound, is just energy in different forms. Matter, dense, stabilized energy. Heat, energy spreading out to restore balance. Sound, pressure waves moving through an energy field. Light, a ripple in the electromagnetic field. Electricity, not electrons traveling down a wire, but a wave of energy transferring through the field around the wire. Even gravity isn't a force pulling objects together. It's the curvature of space-time, guiding how energy balances itself. Practical techniques to work with energy as a field. Now that you understand energy doesn't flow, but instead shifts within a larger field, you can use this knowledge to refine your energy practice. First, energy awareness exercise. Sit still and focus on your entire body at once. Instead of thinking of energy moving inside you, imagine it as a field that you are immersed in. Notice subtle shifts in sensation: temperature, tingling, pressure. Instead of pulling energy, simply adjust your focus to where it already exists. Why this works? This retrains your mind to experience energy as an ever-present field, rather than something that must be generated. Second, energy field expansion. Stand in a quiet place with your eyes closed. Imagine the energy surrounding you extending outward, like ripples in a pond. Slowly move your hands, sensing how far your field extends. Experiment with pushing and pulling the field. Notice how your awareness shifts. Why this works? Instead of moving energy around, you're learning to adjust your perception of it. Third, energy connection practice. Place your hands near a plant, tree, or another person's hands without touching them. Instead of thinking about sending or receiving energy, simply tune into the field already present. Notice how the sensations shift as you become more aware of the shared energy. Why this works? This aligns with how quantum entanglement operates, where objects remain connected not by physical force but by a shared energy field. The deeper we look, the more we see. How quantum physics shows that reality is a field of potential, waiting to be shaped by observation. And how energy science confirms that everything is interconnected, meaning these ancient practices teach that awareness is the key to accessing this energy. We've been taught to think about energy incorrectly, but now we're learning to see it for what it truly is. Not a force that moves through space, but a field that responds to attention. Now you know, your mind isn't just a processor of reality, it's a creator of it. The science of quantum physics, the wisdom of ancient mystics, and real-world experiments all point to the same truth. Everything is energy, and your focus determines how that energy moves. But here's the thing. Understanding this is just the beginning. The real transformation happens when you start applying these principles in your own life. If you're serious about mastering energy and breaking free from the limits they've placed on you, hit the notification bell, because the next videos will take this knowledge even deeper. Also, check out the newsletter linked below for exclusive insights and content that can't be shared here on YouTube. And if you really want to unlock your full potential, there's more they don't want you to know. Check out the playlist below, because this is just the beginning. Drop a comment below with the words "energy moves," and let's see who's really tapped into this knowledge. Thank you for your time. Until next time, stay aware, stay powerful.